Leyla Preston. She is the founder of Motherhood Diaries and also the blog 5 for a Fiver, which I will let Leyla tell you all about. So over to you, Leyla.
Okay, my main blog, Motherhood Diaries, actually I've turned it into a magazine now. It started back in 2010 when I first got pregnant with Aaron, my first one. And I had a career in law before then, so it was a very different area. And I just literally jumped into it with 2 feet, and I had no idea about blogs at the time. I don't even think they were called blogs back then. And I started straight from scratch as a weekly pregnancy blog, and literally grew from there. And now it's a magazine. I suffered a security hack in 2013, so I had to start the whole site again. So now it's a magazine full of pregnancy and parenting topics. I've got about 70 contributors as well who share their thoughts and opinions on pregnancy and parenting, and it's a pregnancy site for everyone, really. So my 5 for a Fiver blog is very new. It's just started late last year, and it's a recipe blog for creating recipes up to 5 ingredients for £5 or less. So it's more for the economical, the parent who budgets their recipes every week.
Brilliant. I think they're both fabulous. Obviously,
thank you.
That's a really good look. I love the 5 for a Fiver idea. It's just so easily reachable to so many mums out there and dads, isn't it? So fantastic idea. Yeah.
I don't have time to be able to cook some of her recipes, and I just feel like I need to find something where I can use minimal ingredients. They're still healthy enough for me to be able to cook for the children, and also, just to budget every week, because I know it gets very expensive, especially in the UK, to buy. And I'm trying to connect that with my pregnancy magazine. That's where the magazine and the recipe blog are going now these days.
Okay, I think I know what your answer may be to the next question, but can I ask you what is the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome?
For me, it is absolutely time. Time has been the biggest obstacle for me since day one. I started my blog when I was 5 months pregnant, so I was still working in law at the time, and I was literally working till 6-7 o'clock in the evening, and then coming home and then starting this blog from scratch. No idea what to do. Lots of research on the internet, which was really sporadic at the time, and working until 10-11 o'clock at night, and then getting up in the morning, going straight to work. And that was right from day one up until now. I've had 2 boys in quick succession. I've got 5 and 6-year-old boys, and I literally felt like I was pregnant for 2 years, and then I breastfed for 2.5 years. Well, 15 months with my first and 2.5 years for my second, not by choice, by the way. So I was up throughout the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd try and grab some time to be able to write a blog here and there, or anything that I could do to try and work towards my magazine, which was at pockets at best of like 15-20 minutes at a time. And I barely got any sleep. And it's still, my kids are now at school, but I still find that I'm grabbing time wherever I can. So I drop the kids to school. I have between 9:30 and 3 o'clock, and with it to work. And within that time, I'll be cleaning, I'll be cooking, I'll be preparing food, I'll be doing other things alongside my business. So it's not like, an employed business, which we'll probably go on to later, but it's not like an employed business where you go to an office and you work 9 to 5. It's more work around your daily lifestyle, your daily chores and everything. So for me, definitely it was time. And you do learn to become a lot more productive with it as well, actually. The more you go, the more you carry on with your business, the more you try and learn the ins and outs of where you can cut corners, or where you can sort of be a little bit more efficient, and procrastination, you have to learn to try and
we're all procrastinators, I think, aren't we?
Yeah.
More than others. It's
terrible.
An issue, because obviously you have to have a lot of self-motivation and to have your own business and make sure you get things done, don't you?
I have to say that I've started reading this new blog called waitbutwhy.com. I don't know if anyone's heard of it before, but it's by this brilliant author called Tim Urban. I am, by definition of his blog, a procrastinator, but he does show ways of how to get around it. So well worth the read. I'll send a link afterwards.
Fab. Thank you. Can't wait to read that. Great.
Yeah,
Like a good blog. Certainly on
fabulous.
Yeah. On that. Thank you.
I'm actually procrastinating reading his blog at the moment. It's terrible. It's so addictive. So addictive. So sorry in advance, actually.
Oh. Now, Leyla, what is your proudest moment or your biggest success?
Well, quite recently, actually, I was named influential businesswoman of the year. I was so tired. We had about illnesses in our family where my husband got really sick. He had mild pneumonia for a week, and then both of my kids caught the chest infection. Thankfully, it didn't go to pneumonia, but I was literally for 3 weeks on call for all 3 of them, and with deadlines coming out of my ears, and I was fed up, and I was so depressed. I thought, oh, I'm not getting into any of my deadlines. I'm not finishing them. I'm being chased by email, and it's this situation where, do you tell your clients what's happening in your personal life, or do you remain professional and work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? So I'd lost my mojo completely. I was so depressed. And then I got this email saying, well done, congratulations, you won Businesswoman Parenting Best Online Parenting Magazine and Best Businesswoman of the Year by this wonderful website, this magazine. And that was it. It really inspired me to keep going. Makes you feel so happy. So that definitely is my proudest moment so far.
Congratulations and
thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's amazing to even be considered. Really, I know it sounds like such a cliche, but it really is. Really, I'm amazed that even people are reading my blog. So thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Leyla, how important do you believe that self-belief is when it comes to achieving in business?
Well, I mean, I think in times of business, you're going to get moments of weakness. You're going to get jealousy monster. You're going to get the panic monster. You're going to get, am I good enough? I get it pretty much all the time when I'm having a low moment. So when I'm facing deadlines, and stuff, I get that moment where I think, am I good enough to do this? But the one thing that pulls me through is self-belief. I always believe that I will get through it. I believe that I can do this. But then, that combines with doing something that you're really passionate about as well. I mean, I cannot stress this enough, that when you're starting out a business, self-belief and passion are two of the most important aspects to a business. And you don't have to be the best in what you do. You don't have to, you don't have to have a degree or, a PhD in what you're learning. You just need to be passionate about your product or your service, and that always shines through. And the self-belief that you can do it with all these pitfalls that you have, like time, and weaknesses that you think that you may be, in the blogging industry, it's so rife at the moment. You have to have that belief that you can pull through regardless of whether there is someone better than you or not. So I think that for me, that is the most important thing, passion and self-belief. So you have to try and find that somewhere at your deepest, darkest moment, and just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, really agree with that totally. And there are those self-doubt moments.
I think for anyone starting off a business especially, you will get these times where you think that you can't do it. But I can't advocate just going for it. Just go for it, really, honestly. You've got nothing to, unless you're plugging so much money and you really don't have anything to lose about time. So go for it. Have that self-belief.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Possibly go wrong.
Exactly.
What's the worst that can happen?
Famous last words. Yeah.
No, joking aside, great advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you've made the transition from employment to self-employment,
Yes.
as have I. And I just wonder if you could share with our viewers what are the biggest areas for consideration if somebody is looking to do that. If someone's a little bit unsure, do I start my own business? It's quite a
Yeah.
big. Any advice?
Yes, I would say, first of all, I mean, nowadays it's great that you can start from literally nothing there's so many platforms online, social media. Some people are starting Instagram businesses from scratch, from nothing. So money not necessarily is the issue. It's more sort of, you are leaving your sick pay, your holiday, you're leaving your security blanket, if you will, of regular employment, regular income, holiday pay. You don't get any of those things when you're self-employed. I mean, you can give your own time, but you lose your money for doing that. And another very important factor is that you are now solely responsible for all the things that you're doing in your business, whereas your employer would have had vicarious liability over you, in the sense of, if something goes wrong in the workplace, or if you're faced with an issue, your employer would take care of it and look after you. Whereas in your instance, when you become self-employed, you are going to be looking after yourself. So I think you have to consider that very deeply, whether it's something that you can do, something that you feel that you're strong enough to be able to do. Is, when you start out at the beginning of your business, you won't be getting regular monthly incomes unless, you've got a reserve or you've started with lots of money. Generally, at the beginning of your business, you may not even be paying yourself at all. So that's something to definitely consider. And register yourself as self-employed straight away, basically, as soon as you start. And that would mean paying taxes, dealing with your own taxes, taking out your own accounts, doing your own accounts. Whether you register as a sole trader or a company, you'll still be doing your own accounts. So that's something to consider as well. There's a lot of things at the beginning that you need to do, a lot of tasks that you need to do. I mean, I still suggest to go for it, but there's a lot of things that you leave behind with employment that you would have to take on yourself, basically.
Yeah, it's all those considerations. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. And if somebody had decided, right, okay, I'm going to start my own business, and they were right at the beginning, they've made the decision, just about to start, what's the one piece of advice that you would give that person?
I would say close your eyes and go for it. The only reason why I said that is because I didn't have that much support when I started. I had, of course I had the support from my family, but a lot of my friends and family were telling me not to leave law. So, not to leave a regular career, growing career. I was a budding lawyer at the time, I was just at the peak, starting my career. So I didn't get that support where someone was telling me, you can do it. Write everything down, what you want to do on paper, even if it's not strategic, or even if hasn't got bullet points or whatever. Just write down a mind map of your business before you start. It will make you that money to generate it into a business, and then work out the pros and cons from there. And you know what? Actually, a lot of my friends have started going to these free financial advisors as well. You get a lot of these free financial advisors as well. They can also speak to you about where you can make money from your business. So the one piece of advice I would say is go for it, but also write everything down on paper. Have a plan before you start.
Yeah, great stuff. There's a lot of pressure out there to stay or stick with a proper job, in inverted commas, isn't there? And
Yeah.
we only get one life, don't we? So you've really got to live it for yourself.
I see, you saying that, I would say also, if you can, stick with your employment for as long as possible before you start your business. So you have that regular income coming in, you have that security blanket. There's lots to look up in there, loads of resources. And they have a section on the website where you can go for free advice, financial advice, business advice, or a mentor. Speak to one of those people and find out whether your business is viable. It most probably is if you have an idea, but it's best to check to see if your business is viable and if there is something that you can do, because in your field, she's a genius. She's a genius in business. In fact, she will